Welcome to Fear Coded, a podcast where we talk about media from the horror genre and take a queer reading of a single book, video game, film, podcast, or TV show to explore just how queer horror can be. And we hope you have some champagne ready to crack open on the bow of our new theme, because it's time to say bon voyage with our new journey, Lost at Sea-tember. We're lost at sea, but it's September. And this time, we are all set to board the Antonia Grazia as we set sail with 2002's Ghost Ship. I'm David.
I'm Marilee.
And I'm Tyler.
And before we start spelling creepy messages on a puzzle toy, I want to say hello and check in with my co-host to find out how things are going for them in an ocean of horrors that our real world has to offer. What is making you all scared, or what is making you feel prepared?
Well, David, can't you feel it?
What, do I feel it?
Can't you feel it? You feel that thing gathering in the air, getting more and more energy and power as we go forward? David,
It's pollution.
It's undeniably spooky season. So of course I am prepared, because we have gained in strength and it's just going to keep going week by week by week until we get to Halloween.
Oh no, it's begun. You people are insufferable during this time.
Oh, the
Yes,
pumpkin spice
Thank
is
you.
flowing, mama. The pumpkin spice must flow. Muad'Dib of the pumpkin people.
So, spooky season has officially kicked off because it is here now, September. Maryland, that's leaving you prepared, I am guessing.
Oh, I'm so prepared. They've got these ghosts and pumpkin decor right here, and you see, we put a string of bat lights over here. This space could not be more prepared.
I feel like I'm looking at a haunted house, really, truly and honestly.
Oh, good. Thank you. That's what I'm going for.
What are there things in particular that you're looking forward this early in the spooky season? I know, obviously, the ramp, she is long and she does ramp, but is there anything that, right from the kickoff gets you going?
Well, the first pumpkin spice of the season has already happened. Thank God, I've been dying.
Wow.
So it's just, I haven't gone to Spirit Halloween yet. I still need to do that. Which is, I'm a little late this year, frankly. And it's so good to be back. It's not going to be cool for fucking ever here still, but I feel it in the air, and I'm so happy that there's going to be more and more spooky stuff happening as we go forward.
That is fantastic. I accidentally engaged in pumpkin spice earlier this week because I had the toast that I wanted for breakfast was not available, but a calabaza toast, which is pumpkin toast, was available on the menu, and I had that. It did not have any of the spice that we may accompany with it, but it was like a fun avocado toast with pumpkin.
That sounds delicious, actually.
How fun.
Yeah, it was. It was actually really, really good. I would get it again. I just wanted burrata. So I was a little mad that I was like, this should be cheese. And so I was enjoying probably one of the best things I've eaten in a while. And yet I was kind of grumpy being like, this isn't fresh mozzarella. Oh, I'm so angry.
Okay, but that's really valid. If you want cheese and you don't get cheese, you're always going to be sad. However, I think pumpkin and burrata sound delicious together.
I know, they should meld these things together.
That is what I'm saying.
But that was great. They put seeds. There were so many seeds on this toast. They were seeds for days. Be a bird. Natalie Imbruglia, I'm like a bird. I only fly away. I don't know where my heart is. I don't know where my home is.
Check pumpkin.
Tyler, pumpkins are in the air. How are you feeling? Scared or prepared?
I'm feeling prepared, gang.
Ooh.
Two of you. Why?
So, unfortunately, it's still kind of warm here, still kind of humid, but it's definitely getting better. It's not as bad as it was in August, because that was dreadful. But I got to go out into that heat and humidity and go to a science museum here, where we had a fun adult themed night where it was just adults, no kids.
Yes.
And we were there were drinks, there was music. I got to go look at dinosaur bones. There was so as attentive listeners know, I live in Columbus, Ohio now. And I got to COSI, which is this big science museum that's meant for kids. Well, it's really kind of meant for everyone. And I got to just hang out and look at Star Wars props and get a cool photo op. And I got to hang out with some new people and just I got to do something that I've never gotten to do in Florida. And I just feel so much more like free and willing to do things, and there's more opportunities for fun things, and I don't have to be outside for all of them, because even though it is like warm and humid, it's not as bad as in Florida.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just feels good. Like I'm feeling really good. Like I think we are definitely in the right place for us right now.
I love that.
Now, did you learn anything at the museum?
Ooh, good question.
I learned what Buckeye flavor tastes like because I had some Buckeye flavored ice cream.
Isn't it like chocolate and peanut butter, or do you mean like the real
Yeah,
actual
but there's also
Buckeyes?
like no, it's chocolate and peanut butter, but there's also like chocolate bits in it, like Reese's cups
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. It's like a whole like Ohio delicacy, and it was delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. You will soon be a flourish in Buckeyes should
Mhm.
you desire to eat them. And wow,
Well, you shouldn't eat the Buckeye nut in real life because it's toxic.
Well, unless things have
Unless.
gotten bad. I think, isn't that part of living in Ohio? They just give all of you one and you keep it in like your back molar just in case you get captured
Oh, yeah.
by
In the event
Michigan.
we get captured by someone from Michigan, we have like the emergency release valve.
You have to bite down on it. We do the same up in Michigan, just FYI. It's a Petoskey stone. So
Oh.
that joke is for people from Michigan specifically. Everyone else is like, what's a fucking Petoskey stone?
Well, everyone else was just like, what the fuck is a Buckeye?
Everyone else has already skipped forward 45 seconds in their podcast. Only Midwesterners are listening right now. All three of you.
We love you.
Yes, we do. Well, I'm glad you learned about flavors. I hope that you continue to go back to the Science Museum and maybe learn about physics, maybe.
Oh, I did get to see I spent a lot of time in the dinosaur exhibit, and the dinosaur exhibit is really cool because it goes from dinosaurs to early mammals and the mammals that we have walking around today and flying around today because of birds.
Yeah.
And I got to see a T-Rex model skeleton moving in motion, so it simulated how it would actually walk, and it looks so much like a fucking bird.
Well, that's so fucking cool.
I know, right? Dinosaurs are just birds.
Dinosaurs are just birds.
Shrimp is bugs, dinosaurs is birds.
Oh my God. Well, then we're gonna get there eventually with Jurassic Park. We'll just. I want to watch it, and all I want to think about the whole time are birds.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna get there. Tyler.
Good.
That is wonderful. How many adults would you say attended this thing?
It was huge.
Oh wow. Okay.
I figured it was going to be a couple hundred. They were full up. This
That's
place was
awesome.
hopping. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. I was like coming from Florida, like I don't think we have like enough support and infrastructure for the science museums there to do like really big cool stuff like that just because like the state doesn't care.
No.
And the people in Florida, like having lived there for the majority of my life, aren't super into going to science museums anyway.
Yeah.
So
sad but true.
There would not have been an exhibit featuring the evolution of a dinosaur into a modern mammal.
not at all.
Just a guess.
It would just be an exhibit about like dinosaurs, the devil's greatest trick.
Now wait, I would go to that for ironic fun.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I can't join you both in the prepared space.
Oh, David,
Aw.
no.
I'm scared. I'm scared of something that should make me feel prepared, but it's making me. I don't know. It's just making me. It's making me because one of the commitments that we made to each other as a couple after we moved here was that we would start living like Europeans. And one of the things Europeans do is that they vacation without their spouses. And so this December, I am taking my first solo vacation. But I'm a little scared about it because, like, what am I going to do? I'll be all alone.
Where are you going? Where are you
Yeah,
going?
like, give us some deets, David.
Listen, it's appropriate for the month and today's episode. I am getting on a cruise ship, and I will be going to the Canary Islands, a topic that we will revisit next week.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just doing, it's a quick little cruise down to the Canary Islands, sort of Spain's Hawaii, in that it should not belong to us. And is a tropical set of islands, and go down there for a couple days, spend some time on a beach. Should I choose? Read, I guess. Should I choose? That's the thing, is I'm almost feeling so full of choice. And that's what's leaving me a little bit scared. Like, should I be preparing a lot of things? Should I go and see a volcano? I could.
But you've got
Or
that choice paralysis happening.
I do have a little bit of choice paralysis, which is, you know what? That's the weird thing about it, is I pride myself throughout my career of being the person who makes decisions. I am a very decision-forward person.
It's true, you are. It's really great.
I became known for it. I love being decisive, but this is the first time that I'm doing something just by myself, and that's what feels a little bit weird about it. Because I could just sit there and play DK Bonanza the whole cruise. Just never leave my room. Just play Donkey Kong.
Can I make a recommendation for you?
Do it. Let's go.
Please
Let's
don't
go.
stay in your cabin the whole time playing DK Cruise. What a waste of money.
Listen, well, money. This is not we're not paying for this. That's the other reason I'm doing it by myself. This is free, Marilee.
Well, A, love that, but B, it's even a bigger waste if it's free.
That's
Come
true.
on.
That's true.
You got a
That's
free
true.
cruise and you're going to spend it in your cabin? Come on.
I should get the most out of it. I should get the most out of it.
What are you, me in 2009 going on a cruise ship with my grandfather as a birthday or as a graduation present?
Yeah, no, I'm not you in 2009. Possibly much older than you in 2009. No, I'm having a good time. We have done a few cruises, but some of them have been like a little bit more work related for me. As I'm having to like schmooze somebody who's trying to set up like a nonprofit or something. And so I'm hoping that I don't do any of that, but if I do meet a wealthy person who wants to invest in a podcasting network, I'll be spending all of the days on the cruise making that happen.
I'm not going to argue. That sounds like a great use of your time.
Yeah, David, if I can do somehow do an indecent proposal situation with you and a potential sugar daddy for Glitterjaw as a whole, I will facilitate that.
That is how I live my entire life. Do you know how much ankle I am showing to rich men so that I can get them to sponsor a podcast network? That's all I want in the world.
You harlot. I love it.
I know, right? Don't you want to see what's under this sock? It's more foot. Ooh.
Ooh. Hey, to some people, that gets them,
That's what I'm
No.
saying. That's what I'm saying. We're back to those root picks from a couple episodes ago. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sorry, Kate. It should fill me with preparedness because vacation is good for you. It is good to get away. We as a podcast will be having a little break. Gimmicks will be on a little break. It's sort of the perfect window for me to be able to pull this off. So I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to get, and Mike's excited to spend some time on his own too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I like having my alone time.
Same. I'm just not used to doing it on vacations.
Yeah, that is, I get where you're coming from, but I also get being scared of your vacation. Spoiler for a couple of weeks from now, but I am also going on a trip soon, and when that's coming up, I guarantee you that my scared and prepared is going to be scared because I'm going on a trip.
Yeah. Trips. Wild occasions.
Wild.
Guys, I'm also going on a trip at some point in the near future, and I'm going to a cabin, so...
A cabin in
Wow.
the woods, perhaps?
A cabin in the... Oh my God,
Near
I was
a
going to
lake.
say that barely. Wait, Bear Lake? A lake of bears?
No, near a lake.
Oh, mine was more exciting.
It would have been way more exciting.
I mean, depends on the bear, I guess.
That's, well...
With the people I'm going with, I guess it technically is a bear lake, so...
Just throw them all in there. There is a Bear Lake.
Normally, I'm used to bear soup at the bear pool parties, but
Gotta be
anyway.
careful with that bear soup. Hey, that's some toxic water. Let's talk about a different set of toxic water as we discuss the 2002 supernatural horror movie Ghost Ship. It was the second and last film directed by Steve Beck. The screenplay was written by Mark Hanlon and then, quote, improved by John Pogue.
The plot follows a marine salvage crew that discover an ocean liner, the Antonio Grazia, that has been adrift for 40 years after it vanished without a trace. After their ship mysteriously explodes, because it's 2002, and ships do that,
Yep.
It's a race against time to fix the Grazia before it sinks as their crew is picked off by supernatural forces.
While the movie was a box office success, it was panned completely by critics, and it was even nominated for the Worst Picture Award by Fangoria in their Chainsaw Awards, but did lose to Fear.com. To this day, it is not thought of well, to put it lightly, with a 14% score by critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 38% from audiences. What are your guys' relationship with Ghost Ship? David, this was your pick, so you can go first.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask, was this my pick?
It was your pick.
This certainly was your pick.
Wow. Okay, everyone, let's just calm down.
That was a lot. There was a lot of sass on that one, Tyler. That was
wow.
I'm going to go last in my opinion, so
Okay.
go ahead, David.
I will say I have seen this before, but when selecting it for Lost at Sea-tember, I primarily picked it because all I really remembered about it was the cultural memory that this is the worst thing ever committed to film ever in all of history. And so when I went in and popped this in and it genuinely wasn't, I was like, oh, this is like aggressively okay. It is. I don't know that either Marilee or I are about to say that this movie was good, but this movie was a far stretch from being the worst thing ever. And yet it is the lowest rated film that we have covered on this podcast. And it's a little surprising just because I don't think that maybe it's that bad or should be remembered as the worst movie ever. I'm not like eager to rewatch it, but the household had a good enough time because when I told Mike I was going to put this on and I said, I think it's really bad, baby. He was like, ugh, I hate bad movies. And at the end he was like, I don't know, it's kind of fun. That hot lady shot a guy. I was there for it.
Yeah, because every time I mentioned this movie before, my trusted friends, my circle of like horror movie people, they always said, just don't even bother. Watch the first 5 minutes on YouTube and you're set. And that seems really wild to me now because I actually liked this. I thought it was, for the most part, pretty fine. Is it a good movie? Definitely not in the traditional sense, but it's fine. I had fun. I liked it. I do think, however, that because I am a huge fan of Beck's other movie, 13 Ghosts, my problematic Blorbo, I love you so much. You are not good. I do think that I have a type. So I like it. I don't think it's good, but I had a great time, and I'm genuinely shocked that people don't have such a negative association with this movie. I think I have a theory as to why, but I'd love to hear about what Tyler thinks of it first.
Yeah, I'm the stinker on this one. I didn't like it.
Yes.
I do not think it is the worst film ever made either. Going purely by my personal preference, I would throw Terrifier 2 on the pile of the worst things that we've covered so far.
Definitely.
Easily
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. By a large margin.
Oh, for sure.
I even think this is better than Strays. I
Yeah.
would watch this before I'd watch Strays again.
Yeah, I honestly thought Strays was fine for the most part.
Yeah.
It was very made-for-TV movie. I think that, parts of this movie are a lot better and more fun than Strays, but Strays has nothing really wrong with it, as opposed to Terrifier 2, which is, again, a garbage movie that should be thrown directly in the garbage.
Yes.
I think this movie had a couple of cool scenes, but I kind of thought everything in between was a boring rehash of other better horror movies and other movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of seemed like we're cribbing from better things to try and improve this movie. But just because you're cribbing from better things doesn't automatically make the thing that you're doing better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I feel like this may have been a victim from the various rewrites that this film went through. I did not care for it. I honestly, at the end of the day, I just found it really boring and predictable, which I said was the ultimate sin in a horror movie. I said that about Terrifier 2, and even though I think this is better than Terrifier 2, I also find it just as guilty as being kind of boring and predictable.
Yeah. I don't. There were a couple of scares that did get me in this. I know we'll talk about them when we get to the horror part of our conversation, but I don't know that from a plot beat perspective, it was working for me on that level.
Yeah,
that's fair. I respect all of that.
Honestly, character-wise too, I found everyone kind of like except for Juliana Margulies' character, but that's also because, and Gabriel Byrne, but that's also because those are two incredible actors.
Thank you. Exactly. And as we will discuss in the themes, actors who had signed on when maybe this was a different project.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to hear my wild conspiracy theory before we go first?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's go into conspiracy corner with Marilee.
Here's the thing. I was talking about this with a friend of mine. And I was just spitballing. Immediately after I watched this movie, I was shocked because again, I had such a good time. And I was expecting rancid garbage. And my friend was like, hold on, let me check something. And as it turns out, the Ring remake, you guys remember that? One of the biggest movies, like the biggest remakes for a long time ever.
Yeah.
It was the #1 grossing horror movie of the year. It did crazy gangbusters, cultural impact, all of that stuff. That movie came out 3 days before Ghost Ship. It came out on October 18th. And Ghost Ship was released on October 21st. So my friend Britt, who does not listen to this podcast, but shout out Britt, her theory was that critics were thinking about The Ring when they saw Ghost Ship, and that is why they ranked this so much lower, because they had that other movie like in their palettes, and this movie in its extremely early 2000s core just couldn't compete.
Yeah, I would actually buy into that conspiracy theory. I think the Ring remake with Naomi Watts was a cultural touchstone.
It was a moment.
It was a moment, and I think its legacy has long surpassed, what we would think, purely because of the idea the girl from the well comes out of the TV.
Yeah.
But that movie was also so stylish and so different from other horror movies that we were seeing at the time. That Ghost Ship comes along, and it's like I just said, it's like every other horror movie. So I could absolutely see this getting caught in the backdraft, which is pulling that down. So hey, I think your friend's onto something,
right?
Yeah, I also think that like this is the most aggressively non-A24 film. Like this is the most big studio film.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing independent about this. This is not a scrappy group of people, huge budget, which is also what it went into the marketing, and I think that's part of why it did so well. I will say, credit where it's due, release date well chosen.
Yes.
Because this does belong in the spooky season. This was released at the right time. You just couldn't see The Ring coming for what it was, and that's kind of impressive that film was able to do that. And I think there are other examples of that throughout history. Blair Witch drug a couple things down. I remember when that was sort of big, but that's just sort of the nature of how entertainment works. And I think today it's hard to watch this and not kind of expect it to be a campy B movie. And despite what I think it ends up delivering, which I think is some B movie moments, if not C movie moments, this is not a B movie. This is a studio film.
Yeah, they put some money into this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of money.
Well, hey, that's a great transition into our themes. So our very first theme that we're going to discuss about Ghost Ship is greed never changes. Greed is a universal motivator in stories, so using it here is effective from a storytelling perspective. Plus, if greed is universal, then it works for the story's cycle narrative. The movie implies events similar to what happened aboard the Grazia happened before and would happen again. As long as the gold was around to tempt people and ferrymen to stir up trouble, the cycle would repeat and people would do truly terrible things to each other for money.
And like, it's certainly a life-changing chunk of change. Like, that is a lot of gold worth a lot of cash. But what a wildly pessimistic take.
And that's actually part of the problem for me, Marilee, is like this should have gotten lost. Like the gold it's a hat on a hat. They're already there to salvage this like cruise ship that went missing. That's enough motive. Like that they were already talking like, oh, bringing back the ship's going to make $300 million. Like you don't need to add gold on top of that. And I think that it sort of reads as a late addition to the script. Like it does feel like a network note of like, well, why would people believe that a cruise ship was worth money? Because the fucking movie told me it was. Like, I don't need a second thing. But like, then you add legitimate like gold bars, like the gold bariest of gold bar I have ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of a real thumbs down moment. And it just doesn't work. And then you have to add all this like complicated backstory about like, oh, the gold's been around forever and the world will never change because of this gold. And I don't need any of that. It's toxic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a little like hat on top of a hat. I think it would kind of work from the idea, like if they jumped off from this being the heist movie, where it was like, hey, there's a ghost ship out there and it's said to have this big pile of gold inside of it and we want to get that gold, and the ship is less significant. Although the ship would also be like a nice chunk of change to gold as the main motivator. I think that would have worked really well because then you still could do all the creepy ghosty stuff. It's just that's what you discover in addition to the gold. Not the gold is one of the things that you discover and the ship is the main thing. Because the
Right.
ship is just, it is literally too big for us to consider it a MacGuffin. Like
Mhm.
it's got to be something much more containable, and gold bars are classic for that reason.
Yeah.
What a great idea, Tyler. I absolutely am picking up what you're putting down. I think you're right.
Yeah, just
Awesome.
pick one, gang. Pick one of these two
Mhm.
things to motivate our team. And ultimately it's all like the big bad demons like run of show anyway.
Yeah.
So like then you have two complicated motives that don't really work well together, and a third maybe very simple motive, like maybe one of the world's oldest motives is that demons gonna trick you. And then it's a hat on top of a hat on top of like a person with gorgeous hair. I don't need this. It's too much. It's too much.
It is. It is too much. You're both right.
Get
It's
out
that
of here.
storybook about the guy who wears too many hats.
Yeah.
God,
What,
if
I
I
don't
have
know what
to,
that is.
have either of you guys read that book recently? It's not good.
The
What?
story of the man
one
with too
about
many
the
hats?
Yeah, too many hats. Fucking sorry. I've had to read that book many times for my niece
Is
and
this-
nephew.
Is this a real book? Is
Oh.
there a real book called A Person with Too Many Hats?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
think it's called a person.
it's caps for sale. He walks around with too many hats. He falls asleep. Monkeys throw the hats around, like steal his. He falls asleep next to a tree. Monkeys steal all of the hats. It's very stupid.
Is this like a?
Well, I loved it as a child.
Oh yeah,
Is this
kids
like
love it. It's not for people
Wait.
though.
Is this like a prequel series to Curious George and the Man with the Big Yellow Hat? Like what's
I
what's going on
wish.
here?
Perhaps a multiverse of hat madness.
Oh my goodness. I simply can't. Hats? No more hats, Tyler. What
Yeah,
about the bottom
I
of
can't-
your feet?
Yeah, I can't do hats anymore. In fact, take your shoes off, which is the next theme that we're going to talk about. So, this film began as a psychological thriller originally penned as Chimera in 1996, featuring a salvage crew who went aboard the ghost ship and are all driven mad. Rewrite after rewrite resulted in the work we have now. And director Steve Beck shared on the commentary that much of the final script represented changes from executives that mandated stories with less nuance and a greater good versus evil story after the September 11th attacks, which I have to say is a real shame because
Yes.
that sounds like a much more interesting movie, but good versus evil was definitely the vibe post 9/11.
Yes.
So I think it's unfortunate, but it kind of unavoidable.
Yes, but then what did audiences say they wanted? They wanted The Ring.
Mhm.
They wanted
Yeah.
the complex, nuanced story. They didn't want the. Well, they watched this too, so I guess you can't really look at box office.
I mean, the box office was. This movie was 6th for horror movies of the year. And The Ring was obviously number 1.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I read the Chimera script. I wasn't going to. I was just going to page through it, and then I just devoured the thing because it was a fun little read, and it's posted online. It's like 5 characters, and they're in sort of like a claustrophobic rundown cruise ship. It sounds very, very scary because it's like the fucking Shining on water, and like. That would have been enough for me. The Shining on water. Done.
Yeah.
Sold. Great.
Hello, let's get that movie made. That sounds fucking rad.
Yeah. Sadly, no. And that's fine. Whatever. A lot of but all the characters carried forward, all the names of the characters followed forward. And like there was a little ghost girl. We love a little ghost girl. There were some parts of it that I think did end up making it to the final version. But now that I've read the script, I can see how discordant the final version really was. Because the things that did make it through are from a better movie. And then they don't belong in Ghost Ship. And that, I think, is what's so hard and complicated, is that this is a tonal mess of a film.
Yeah, it's a pretty clunky film. It's part of why I found it, I think, kind of predictable, because it's like, well, we're trying to make the movie kind of sort of good versus evil, but also we wanted it to be ghosts and we wanted it to be violent. And we wanted it to be an R-rated film, but also, I don't know. It's just kind of like the film itself is a chimera.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
You bring up the R rating. I kind of forgot about it. Why was this rated R? What?
Oh,
even
there's
is
a
R?
lot of blood and guts.
There's a lot of blood and gore. The first 5
80
minutes.
people died immediately.
Oh, God. That scene. We're going to talk about that scene when we get there. I'll just wait.
Okay. Well, Gain, I have to tell you something. I work for scale.
Well,
I don't know what that means, but I do it.
Great.
But coincidentally, our next theme is also called I Work for Scale. So we have celebrated practical filmmaking on this podcast before, but this might be our first entry with so much use of scale models. The filmmakers based the model of the ship on the real-life Italian luxury liner, the SS Andrea Doria, which sank after a collision with another ship in July 1956. This replica model was 1/20th scale, allowing exterior shots to be a combination of CGI, miniature, and live-action footage, with the 35-foot long-scale model filmed in the waters of the Moreton Bay.
Yeah, so this is fun. This was one of the biggest maritime disasters in the history of the United States, because it happened right off the coast. So like the Titanic doesn't count. And because there were like lessons learned from the Titanic, this was fun to learn about. I'd never heard of the Andrea Doria before. Because of the lessons learned from the Titanic, like most people survived. The only people who died in the sinking were people who were like literally hit by the other ship, like through the wall, and they got crushed. That's sad, but like nobody just drowned straight out. And that was with the Andrea Doria losing half of its lifeboats because it was hit by another ship where all the lifeboats were. And they still survived. Isn't that just...
That's awesome. I love that.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
I had heard of the Andrea Doria because I like disasters, and specifically I always had a real like ship phase in my life. But I actually didn't know that much about it because, of course, so many people survived.
Yeah, it's kind of so it doesn't end up being like talked about as much. And Marilee, we knew that you liked disasters because you podcast with us.
So true.
I just love that the people who did the scale model for this, which is still 35 feet long.
It's so big.
It's weird to think about a scale model and then being like, oh yeah, it was only 35 feet long. And I'm like, that's a really big boat. Like that's not a small ship. I think that is bigger than the ship that they would have been on in Jaws. Like, I don't think that was 35 feet ship to stem. No. So this is fun, but they also did all of the production design for the live action Scooby-Doo.
I love it.
That's incredible. You still haven't seen that, right, David?
I still haven't seen it. So now I'm excited to see it whenever we get to it, because I will be looking for all of the scale models, I guess, because they did a lot of scale models for that film.
We'll get Amanda back on the pod.
And we'll do it. We'll do
our
job.
Our Scooby expert.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
I think it was another cool thing though about like the effects work in here, because like movies from the early to mid 2000s are kind of a relic from a time that no longer exists in Hollywood,
right?
Where there was a really neat mixture of practical miniatures and CGI effects. The big like triumph of this is of course Lord of the Rings,
sure,
which used copious amounts of scale modeling and practical effects along with CGI. Really incredible stuff. Also, a lot of behind the scenes film out there. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. But this is another example of that. And I think that's so cool. And unfortunately, it's kind of sad because nowadays it's mostly CGI for everything.
Right.
Practical effects are mostly like for an animatronic, like a dinosaur. And not so much for like, let's recreate the Grazia in scale model. Nowadays, they're just like, let's just CGI the whole thing, and we can have 3 different people in 3 different green screen rooms pretending to be in the same room.
Yeah, it does kind of suck. I mean, even to use Lord of the Rings as an example, that's why Lord of the Rings, I think, feels so much better than those Hobbit movies, because it was a different attention to the types of way in which we did filmmaking. And I think maybe the things that I liked about Ghost Ship the most were a lot of the set decoration, the design, and some of the ways that we shot things. Like, this was a very effective movie in giving me vibes. We just sometimes really wasted the buildup on them.
Oh, yeah.
By having, like, Carl Urban eating, like, maggots, which I don't need. I don't need that. I don't need it. I don't need it, Carl Urban. You can eat something else. Me.
Ayo.
Ayo. Well, Eating maggots, what a great transition to ask one of the two questions that we ask every time we consider a piece of media for this podcast. And that is the question, is it horror? When watching 2002's Ghost Ship, were you scared? Does this belong as part of a discussion of horror?
I'd say yes. People get sliced up by wires, grounded by gears, and blown the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it actually feels like very horror to the point that I could have used like a second genre paint just in there somewhere, because I thought that we were going to squeeze a little bit of that adventure onto here, and we did not. We reached for like a different horror paint, and I think that was maybe a mistake, because this could have felt a little bit more adventure-y, a little bit more heisty, and I think that would have earned some credit to it. Or it could have gone a little bit more psychological, a little bit more esoteric, and that would have been a lot of fun. But I think, and I think maybe this is where predictability ends up coming from, Tyler, is we're like, what about a ghost on our movie set on a ship called Ghost Ship? What if we just did more ghosts? And what if
more ghosts, you say?
What if they flew away at the end?
What if we took the ending of Titanic and then put ghosts around the rear of the ship?
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's perfect.
That's what James Cameron was missing.
Yeah.
James Cameron should have added ghosts.
Yeah, Titanic, infamous for being like pretty good.
Yeah.
Could have used something else.
Could have used something.
Yeah. Could have had some more ghosts.
And more ghosts.
A lot of the time, is it horror ends up being a bit of a rhetorical question, but I think that, especially in this case, our next criteria is going to have a little bit more meat on that bone. So I have to ask you, is this queer? Can we evaluate the movie Ghost Ship using like a queer theory?
Yeah, I think in particular, Julia Margulies' character, Epps, is going to be someone that I assume we're going to spend a little bit of time around. There aren't a lot of women in this movie. Epps as a character has to do that sort of like, I'm one of the guys thing, but I'm like a tough lady. And so, well, that's a little hacky late 90s, early 2000s, like feminist nonsense. It does make her kind of queer, like, because it's gender fuckery, but I don't think it's being written for gender fuckery. I think it's being written kind of lazily as like, women can do what men can do, and I'm Julia Margulies. I was a nurse who stole pain medication in the ER. And I don't like that part of it, but I like the finished product, and I think she's a fucking fantastic actor, so she delivers on more than the promise was from the script.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think she's the queerest in a bunch of heterosexual stereotypes. Because so Marilee, you're our found family expert. What did you think about this found family? Because I have some thoughts that might conflict with what you think.
Ooh, very interesting. Can't wait to get to that. I just think that it's worth pointing out, as always, that a found family is a pretty queer thing to be a part of. And early in the movie, when talking with Ferryman, who is the outsider to this group, she specifically says that these guys are her family. So, like, there is, and like her relationship with Murphy is like the father figure. And like she's like the daughter figure between the two of them. So like it's a real like almost family kind of unit. I'm gonna say something later about two of the other members of this found family. I think that they should have been queer because what they give us is nothing, and I would rather paint with a certain other brush than the one that they're trying to give me. But I just think that that's a gay thing to do, to find a family in a group of people where you're all considered outsiders by the outside world.
Yeah, and I love that. I do agree with large parts of that, Marilee. I think you're pretty much on the money. I think some of the individual members of the found family that are not Juliana Margulies are a little too close to heterosexual stereotypes. Like Gabriel Byrne is definitely like the father figure, which is typically a heterosexual kind of vibe. There's our what's his name that has the fiance?
Oh, Greer.
Yeah, Isaiah Washington. Sorry, I know a lot more actors than I know their character names on this one.
I had to write their character names because I did the notes this time, and so I'm very I know which one's Dodge and which one is fucking Munder. So
yeah, no, I was mostly going off of actor names in this one, but shit, what was his name again?
Greer.
Greer. I do think that Greer's character, I'm going to talk about him a little bit more later, but I think he's like an unfortunate example of a black man and an unfortunate stereotype of like a heterosexual black man.
Yes.
And I think there's some others that are just like so hetero, and it's kind of like it almost feels performative to a degree, which makes it like feel a little bit more queer. But I do think like we've had stronger examples. I think I think you are pretty much correct though, Marilee. Like this is a found family, and that by definition makes it pretty queer.
Yeah, listen, I'm aware that I am constantly on fucking ledges reaching for nothing, but I decide that something is there because if you try hard and believe in yourself, anything can be queer. And that's what I'm gonna do. That's my purpose here on Fear Coded Podcast. I'm gonna find it.
We gotta do it, Marilee. We gotta do it. But here's the thing. 2002, I think we avoid some moments of queer panic, like gay panic, particularly between Dodge and Munder.
Mhm.
And I've got to give, like, a slightly wilted flower where it's due, that, like, the easy thing to go, the default toggle for anything written in 2002 would have been gay panic.
Yeah.
And that we didn't do it was nice and deserves to be recognized. That should be the bare fucking minimum, but it wasn't in the 90s.
Yeah. I do think Tyler brings up a really interesting point, though. We have two people of color on this entire cast, Greer and Santos, and I don't think the narrative treats either of them particularly well.
No. And that's another part of like early 2000s film writing, is that a lot of racial stereotypes are prevalent. And we'll get into those.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
I will also say that Santos talking to a framed photo of a car is a performative B. That could be queer, and I'm going to claim it.
I would like it if it weren't for all of the related stereotypes associated with Mexicans and their love of vehicles, and in particular what he's got going on. If that wasn't there, I would have liked that a lot more.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's great, but
if
of the
it had
sea
been
of
Dodge,
not great, this is the one thing that I could take from it, then maybe I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, don't be with a person, be with a car. I get that. That's hot in its own way. It's got a very Transformers vibe to it. Well then, are you both ready to get in to the plot?
I've got my ticket right here. I'd love to board the ship, please.
Wow, okay.
All aboard.
Great. Oh, then let's do it. We will have the porters bring your bag around as we dive into the 2002 film Ghost Ship. The film opens on board the Antonio Grazia, a beautiful Italian ocean liner. Because it's Italian, no people of color aboard. So we're just going to reinforce that one. In the ballroom, a singer in a red dress croons to the crowd, dancing and enjoying dinner. And there's even more dancing on the foredeck. But a young girl, Katie, sits bored, kept company only by the ship's staff. As the song reaches a climax, the singer, Francesca, urges everyone to get up and dance. Dance! The captain asks Katie to dance, and they join the others on the foredeck. Elsewhere, a hand flips a switch and activates some sort of rigged trap that pulls a wire directly through the crowd. At first, it seems like nothing happened, but then one by one, the dancers literally fall to pieces until all that's left is the captain and Katie in the center of the dance floor. She looks up at him and sees that he has been sliced through the face and collapses as well. Katie screams and the camera pulls away. Okay, before any of this happens, though, we're like in the water and there's bubbles, and onto the screen comes the strangest font that I have ever seen for a horror movie. I thought that I had gotten the wrong film. It says Ghost Ship, and it is written in like kind of fun penmanship, the sort of thing that my aunt might have bought at like a Staples. Here's 3,000 fonts for your computer to use for an invitation to a wine party she was having.
Yeah, it's also a pastel pink color. Like the text is all pink.
That is so stupid. I did obviously not know that, and that adds to the what the fuck is this? Right.
Oh yeah, it was Barbie pink.
Yeah, it's like pure Love Boat. I thought it was hilarious.
I do love that it was like giving Love Boat.
Well, and
that was great.
That's fine, and this is where my criticisms about tone are going to start to come from. Because I thought, like, oh, do people hate this because it's like a John Waters camp movie? that like miss them is, are we in Campy Funtown? And the wire cutting through everyone, for me, felt like it was delivering on like Campy Fun Time.
Oh, for sure. Like, this to me was a great example of what we want a movie like Terrifier 2 to do
Mhm.
when it comes to stuff like gore and violence for the sake of violence. Like, this is really like we're having a fun time. We're going to put spin on this with like the font, and the music that's playing is like a very light Italian dance song. And everyone's beautiful and just having a good time, and we're all having like a great experience in the font. And then suddenly like the wire cuts through everyone, and it's just this beautiful moment that I've never really seen in a horror movie before, of a whole group of people realize that they've just died.
Mhm.
And then they
And then,
fall
like,
apart.
And then they begin to fall apart, and then they try to like put themselves back together and stuff, and there's just so much blood and viscera everywhere, and it's like, mama, this is what I want. This is what I'm talking about, where I'm like, I would love to see gore for the sake of gore when it's done well. And
Yeah.
I think in this beginning it's done really well.
Yeah, I understand the hype. I understand why people love this scene, because it fucking rules. And I ended up buying the DVD for this movie, because I had to do the notes. I had to watch it a bunch of times. I couldn't find it illegally online. It was cheaper to buy the DVD than to get it digitally, and they had a fuck ton of special features, including like a little segment all about how they did this particular scene. It was phenomenal. But they, yeah, no,
Ooh.
like they wanted to have, originally their pitch was that the wire would go along and decapitate everybody,
Oh,
but the network was like, you can't be doing that. So, which
Nine-
honestly made the scene worse. I think decapitation would have been so good. But no, like the way that they did it, I still love it. I treasure it. It was fantastic.
God, 9/11 took so much away from us. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I hear what both of you are saying, and I
Uh-huh.
do empirically agree, but I hate this scene in this movie because I don't think it's actually a scene from Ghost Ship. I think it is a scene from a different, campier movie.
Mhm.
And I think Ghost Ship would have done better if it had just opened on Margulies and her crew. And I know that's criminal because I had a blast with this, but when I really think about what does this do, it doesn't work. It does not end up working for
Mhm.
what the film ultimately was supposed to be.
I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but also that is a crime, and so I think that you do need to go to jail for that take.
Just directly to jail. Please, by all
Yeah.
means. I mean, and I even hate myself as I hear myself say it because the scene is so good. It's so, but like the wire going through heads, because I'm sure the heads would have like popped off. That's filling me with just utter joy right now.
Yeah.
I actually would have preferred like basically the same opinion that you have, David, but I'm reversing it where it's like I wish the rest of the movie
Fine.
matched the tone of this intro.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Because
Also fine.
yeah. Because like there's so many moments in this movie where it's like, oh man, it would be so cool if they did this, or it would be so nice if they did that, or we could have had fun with this.
Mhm.
And the moments where we do have like a campy experience, I'm like, oh yes, this is living on the promise of the first 5 minutes of the movie. But unfortunately, the rest of the movie is trying to do a little bit of like Haunting a Hill House and Alien.
Mhm.
So
That's
we
what
end
it
up not
is.
getting something very consistent.
Yeah, and so I guess why I landed on this side of the coin was just that the rest of the runtime is the other movie, and that's why I wanted it to kind of be more like that movie.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
I subscribe to your newsletter, Tyler. I would have also watched 120 minutes after this of this movie. And again, just credit where it's due. An hour and 31 minutes? What a blessing. What a blessing on the three of us. What an
yeah.
absolute gift from God.
Listen,
I will say,
Mhm.
as someone who didn't really love the movie, it still felt like an hour and 30 minutes too long. But
well, imagine if it was made today and it was 2 hours 15. They shoved 45 minutes in on like, where did the car come from? Where did they get the car? Ooh, don't you want to know where the car came from?
mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it is iconic. I get it. I will say that the household liked it until we had seen the movie and then did not like it.
Yeah, listen, that's a fair take, and I respect that. However, God, I love this scene. I get why people are like, just watch this scene on YouTube, because in isolation, it bangs.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, I
really
think we did
well
just
done.
we did just prove like why this scene bangs and why people say just watch the first 5 minutes and then you're good, because then otherwise the rest of the movie doesn't
Right,
fit.
exactly. We've all been saying the same thing, just in two different ways, and we're all right and valid.
Well, I think it's time we move out of the past and into the present.
Let's
So,
do it.
in the present day, the salvage vessel Arctic Warrior is trying to tow home a ship that they've recovered, but there's some difficulties. The Warrior's engines are having some trouble, and the other ship is sinking from a rip in the side. The characters Epps, Dodge, and Munder disobey Captain Murphy and Greer's orders and fix their ship, saving the salvage. While celebrating at port, they're approached by a guy named Jack Ferryman, a weather pilot, who says he's discovered a ship adrift in international waters. Santos, the mechanic, raises concerns about the engine, but they decide to check it out anyway. Ferryman insists on coming with them.
Okay, let's talk about this opening sequence with the Arctic Warrior. We're spending a lot of money on this. This is we are at sea. They are moving these vehicles forward, which means that we are doing like aerial photography around them. Fucking Juliette Margulies gets on a zip line between these two vessels. This is high octane start of the movie. And I was like, oh, it's an action movie. That's fine. I like action movies. Like, let's fucking go. And they are wildly competent. And I do like watching characters be wildly competent. I don't know what it takes to fix a ship, so maybe everything is wrong. But they look like they know what they're doing, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, no, like that works. And like that scene with the three of them underwater without any masks, or like just like hanging out, like laser welding this metal onto the side of the ship, that rules.
Rules. It's from
rules.
It's from a third movie that this movie is also not, but it was a great sequence. I really, really loved it, and I loved even the time at port because I thought like, oh, are we putting together a team? Are we gonna heist? Are we gonna steal things from someplace? I love a heist, but it is not a heist.
No.
I do love, like, so I mentioned earlier that this movie is cribbing from Alien. And I think from this sequence to the moment after they explore the Grazia, we're just Alien at sea. And while I say that kind of pejoratively, I do think that the idea of let's try and build on these characters by having them interact together in like a comfortable environment with the like kind of letting their proverbial hair down, that's really nice. And then Jack Ferryman comes in, and I'm just like, you are a charisma void. Like black hole, every time you're on the screen, I can't look because your face, you don't change it. Your tone of voice, you don't change it. You are just this annoying character who shows up, demands 20% of what they found, I think, which is kind of crazy. And just it like the argument that they're trying to make, like the logic that they're applying, because initially they're like, no, get out of here. Which I'm like, cool, that seems legit to me. But they have to jump through so many like hoops to eventually get the plot moving to go to the ship. I was just like, this ain't it for me.
No,
Chief.
No, it is an elephant dart to the side of the audience. Like it, and it. The thing that's so strange about it is that Desmond Harrington is not a bad actor. He has a serious run on Dexter where he is like a fantastic addition to the cast. He is incredible. But he is not here. I don't know if it's script. I don't know if it's direction. I don't know if it's Harrington as somewhat of a new actor. This is one of his first roles, but it is not here. It screams I'm the secret villain, and it screams like, don't ask me to do anything, because there's this table full of cigar smoking hotties, and I want to spend more time with them, and they all look fantastic. And we go to Choo Choo. Maybe that's the downside of the fast runtime, is that we don't spend any time with those characters, and that's why Santos is a stereotype. It's why Greer has so many problems later.
Yeah. Speaking of Greer, him talking about like his fiance and like the ship like needing to get repairs and like how it's at the end of its like their cycle and they have to go back even though they're supposed to be like off for whatever amount of time. It's giving like real character just about to retire vibes.
Yeah, which is heist. That's heist stuff. I like that stuff. That's good stuff. It's action movie stuff. It's not this movie.
No.
It is also unfortunately a little bit of like the film showing its hand too early. Because if Greer's main motivator is like getting back home to his fiance, which it really is, like every time he's on screen, he's almost always talking about his fiance at some point. It's just like, oh, well, he's gonna end up dying because of something related to his fiance, probably with like some sort of karmic like evidence for it because it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't like that. Yeah, I think it wants to be alien in this section, and it's just because it wants to be doesn't mean that it's capable of doing so. So I think that's unfortunate. I think the idea of it being a heist sounds way cooler.
Yeah, I would have loved it being a heist movie. Like maybe it was like actually in Russian waters, so they have to go and like do something a little illegal. And like I don't think we loved Russia at that point in time. I don't think we've ever been like huge Russia fans. So them having to like go into Russian waters to bring this ship back into international waters to then say it was like they could claim it. That would have been great.
Yeah,
because it also is more justifiable than saying Coast Guard didn't care.
Yeah, Coast Guard would have cared. Come on now. Anyway, things start to go wrong immediately when the warrior almost runs into the adrift ship and the crew discover it's the Grazza. Murphy recognizes the ship and tells the crew her story. She went missing without a trace 40 years ago, with no distress signal and no survivors. Not wanting to keep the lady waiting, which is the line that I fucking loved so much I put it into the notes, Murphy, Epps, Dodge, and Munder hurry aboard. As they make their way inside, Greer loses radio contact with them on the Warrior. The floor beneath Dodge breaks, and while Epps helps to keep him from falling, for just a moment, she sees a young girl, Katie, on the floor below. But when she takes a look back, the girl is gone.
At the start of the sequence, we've got this situation where Santos, who's driving the ship, is also looking at a radar, and he sees for a moment that there's a ship-looking thing on the radar. But when he looks back, there's no ship-looking thing on the radar. And I love the use of like unreliable technology as a horror device. And
Absolutely.
so I have not yet been turned off by this movie. And so I am really here for this. The new metal's happening. It's fine. Whatever. It's 2002.
Yeah,
But
like that made me fucking cackle. I was like on my ass laughing about that because like of course it's the new metal soundtrack for an early 2000s movie.
Don't worry, it'll be back for the credits. I just really like this, and I don't actually think that we've had on pod an example of technology sort of fucking with you in this way, for us to like sort of celebrate. And I think this is really fun. I love when you look and see something, and then you look back and it's not there, and then you look again and it's there, and then they hit the ship. Like I actually think this was really good, and I love using. Great. Yeah, I love using old tech like a radar as the way to tell that story too.
Yeah, and speaking of like unreliable tech, I really loved them losing radio contact immediately as they get in the Grazza. I thought that was great, and I kept waiting for that to like come back and be relevant later in the plot, but it simply isn't. And that's a bummer.
It simply is not.
Yeah, I think the radar horror is cool. I really love in stories when like they're trying to use all this newfangled technology, and then they go up against something that's like ancient and primitive, and their technology is useless. Right. This is really fun here. I like that. I also like it in stuff where the technology actually beats the supernatural, like in Buffy when she just blows up a guy with a rocket launcher.
That did roll.
So let's talk about Katie and Emily Browning, the young actress who plays her.
She excels at being a creepy little ghost girl.
This is such a good creepy little ghost. That's the other thing that when I think about like my memories from this, I think about creepy little ghost girl Emily Browning on a lot of the covers. I don't know if it's your DVD, Marilee.
No, it's just the ship.
Okay, because the like special edition DVD was like just the girl, and I was like, oh, you realized what you actually had working for you 10 years after the movie was made. Got it. Which is a shame. I do like the ghost ship. It's a skull in a ship. It's like. It's sort of like
this is so funny. It's actually stealing from a cover of like a 1950s horror movie called Death Ship.
Okay, great. Yeah, perfect. Well, then listen, a skull and a ship, do it. Like don't I guess, pay homage to like the classics of something a little bit older. So go Death Ship for coming up with the idea, I suppose. But it's sort of like the most obvious thing you can do.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have Emily Browning, who is legitimately amazing at this role and has gone on to do other really amazing things, like, yes, I would put her front and center. It was like when we covered Alex Mack on Gimmicks and they were like, oh my God, we had a major star and she was like a bit player on this. You've got to see it. It's her first appearance on all of the DVDs. And I think like that's sort of what I think we're doing with retroactive memory here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. She's just really, really good. And this first, I know it's not her first appearance because she was on like the super fun campy wire death scene, but her first appearance as Ghost is really, really good. And the idea that we're shooting from above because it's Epps' POV who sees her, and she just gives this like look, this like creepy ghost girl look. It is really, really good. I was scared here. This was scary.
This was so good.
Yeah, it was effective. I liked this. This was a fun haunted house part of the movie. Emily Browning, come on the podcast.
Emily Browning, come
also,
on the pod.
Also invited onto the podcast, Gabriel Byrne, who plays Captain Murphy, but specifically just to read me a bedtime story and give me a smooch on the forehead.
Yeah, I was about to say, Gabriel Byrne can come for many other reasons if he would like to.
I was trying to keep it safe for work, but I'm with David.
I would love to do a table read of The Usual Suspects with you if you wouldn't mind, Gabe.
I would like to hear him talk in that like German accent he did for Little Women. And just like read to me.
What a man.
And tell me validating things about me as a creator.
I had to Google. I was like, still alive? ? I was not 100% sure about that. 75 and still doing great.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I really liked Gabriel Byrne. I did think he at some points in the movie was doing an accent and not consistently throughout, and that really bothered me.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah. He's he's Irish in real life, so maybe that kind of bled through a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was.
The accent work.
Yeah.
I will tell you another thing though that actually bothered me audio wise was the radio sounds. But this is such like a weird Tyler issue. So first of all, they're the same radio noises that are used in the Uncharted video game series. So whenever you hear someone talk in that game, you hear that same like crunchy like radio activation sound.
Really?
Unfortunately, my nose also sounds like that when I'm really congested and trying hard to breathe, like really bad. So I got sick of the noise pretty fast.
Oh my God.
Well, all I'm hearing you say is that I should sell your nose to some Foley group who produces those noises.
Hey man, as long as I get paid for it.
Listen. Okay, well, I don't know. There's good, there's bad, there's both. I also did not love all the radio noise. I felt like it was a button we were pushing too frequently. I thought the conceit was great, and then I thought we just went back to it a little bit too frequently.
Yeah, and then they don't do anything with it. That is the biggest sin. They spend so much time using radio in like this first little bit, and then it never comes up in the climax. Boring.
Yeah. Too frequently or too frequency.
All right, well, that's the end of Fear Coded. I have to go walk directly into the ocean. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's a wrap on Fear Coded. I'm going to go take a ghost ship to the Bering Strait or wherever the fuck they are. But first, we must go explore the engine room, where they discover a digital watch and realize that the crew of the Arctic Warrior are not the first people to discover the Grazia. Back aboard the Warrior, the crew reconvene and wonder what could have happened to the ship. Murphy tells them about the Mary Celeste, another ship from real life that traveled great distances without a crew. Epps is still shaken by the girl she saw and opens up to Ferriman about it. A great idea, guy that you just met. Mm-hmm. The next day, the crew discover that the Grazia is sinking, and they have 3 days to fix it before it wrecks itself. Greer wants to call in the Coast Guard to let them know about the find, but Murphy overrules him. I actually like that the ship is sinking. I think it adds like a nice bit of time pressure for the plot that doesn't necessarily become victim to the hat on a hat. I think it's good form of like complication to the plot, which is great. I wish more like good horror movies would recognize that. Like I feel like Terrifier failed the assignment completely.
Well, you said good.
This is a really good example.
Like,
good point. Good catch on that one, Marilee.
I just, the Mary Celeste is, again, it's a real, extremely famous story of a ghost ship. However, That's actually not what happened with the real Mary Celeste. So it's insane that they invoke this real story, but then give it a fake backstory.
Yes.
And I just think that it's really clunky here.
Well, and all for them to introduce another ship at the end. That's where I started to kind of be like, why are there so many ships going missing? Stop taking cruises, people. Like, I just, this was too far.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering about. And I also just felt like we were a little bit far into exposition world. I thought that, like, Murphy, who is being portrayed by Gabriel Byrne, who I would listen to read the phone book, has to do so much fucking exposition about all these ships that he's like an encyclopedia about. And like, he knows the Grazza, he knows this one, he even remembers the other one when Ghost Captain is telling him about it. It's just kind of like too much.
Yeah, no, I wish that he had like mentioned the Lorelei here, and that's the ghost ship that they're talking about. Or if they actually said they mentioned the Mary Celeste and the Lorelei both here, and you can like do that true thing, fake thing. And I think that would have worked better. But like invoking the Mary Celeste, giving the story of the Lorelei, insane behavior.
It just seems odd to reintroduce the concept of a ghost ship when I thought we kind of put a wrap on that when we were first discussing the Grazza of it all, like back at the bar. Like, so it just kind of felt weird to me that we even had this scene where it's like, oh, this isn't the first ghost ship. Other ghost ships have existed too.
Yeah. One of them was a dead ship.
You know, and I like the idea of Murphy know about them. I think his reaction to the Grazza specifically kind of like introduces this idea that Murphy, who later when talking with like Dodge, was like, I know everything about the ocean, I know more than you could ever know, things are weird. I could have worked because like if he had kind of if we had an earlier scene, maybe in that little tiny bit of time in between when the Warriors like leaves port but before it finds the Grazza, we could have had a scene where Murphy talks about how the Grazza is his white whale as a salvager.
Sure.
And then the idea of ghost ships could be like a thing that he's special interest in or something.
Mm-hmm.
It would also help with like the whole alcoholic that's about to give in angle of it all, because then it would provide like an additional motive as opposed to like, oh, he doesn't drink, sees one glass of alcohol, immediately tries to drink it. Like,
which I think is a holdover from the Chimera script, in which he struggles with his alcoholism.
That's fair.
Throughout the story.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Marilee.
The first time when I watched this, I didn't even like clock that it was supposed to be like an alcoholism kind of thing. And I didn't notice that until like one of my later watches. I think that they could have been more clear at any point about anything.
Yes. And I will say on that end in particular, there's a lot of Jack Torrance that going on there. So
yeah,
I was about to say, like, this is a very watery The Shining moment in this one captain's quarters.
Yeah. And I think that like if they could have picked a direction. Do they want Murphy to be Ahab or Jack Torrance, and pick one?
Yes, don't do both.
I could even see both being put together and working really well. It just doesn't happen here.
It would have to be a different movie, and then you almost need it to be about Murphy, which would have been fine. But there's too many other characters. There's just too many people on the ship of the damned. Well, while exploring the Grazza, Epps discovers bullet holes and shell casings all over the inside of the pool that she has jumped into. And like, my girl, you're in a horror movie, like, start to notice things. And when she tries to get out, she sees Katie and then falls backwards and injures herself. When she leaves the pool, the bullet holes absorb the blood from her head wound before they start to bleed, eventually filling most of the pool. But Katie does not notice it, and so it does not work for me.
Epps,
sorry, yes, Epps leaves, and it does not work for me. In the laundry room, Epps and Ferryman discover bodies of people weeks old, not years old, weeks old, and try to find their way back to Murphy to get off the boat. But on their way, they discover the hold and find boxes full of gold bars. Elsewhere, Greer hears Francesca's ghostly voice singing and finds lipstick on a recently lit cigarette in the ashtray. But Epps doesn't wear lipstick. They all meet back and decide to abandon the Grazia and just take the gold. But the Arctic Warrior's engines are sabotaged and it explodes, killing Santos and wounding others. Right before it happens, the ghost girl Katie tries to warn Epps before another apparition whisks Katie away. Okay, let's just start with the pool, I guess.
Oh, God. Okay.
Here's the thing. I didn't love the pool because I just thought you either need to have Epps notice it and freak out, or you need it to be scarier for me, the audience, because it was just like some ghosts like swimming in a pool, and like I assume ghosts do swim in pools of blood. I think that's recreational. Good for them.
Good for them. See, I loved it when the bullet holes started bleeding. I thought that ruled, and but I agree, it goes too far and it doesn't end up working. Like by the time it fills up with blood, and then we see like the bodies floating in it. It just too much. You stop when you're ahead. The bottom of the pool absorbing the blood, and then the bullet holes bleeding. That's enough for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it looked a bit Hellraiser-y, so I liked it, but I think it goes on too long.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't have any payoff because the only payoff is for us, the audience, because we're the only witnesses to the pool.
Yeah.
And I can't be satisfied by my own satisfaction because, well, that I'm watching a movie to satisfy me. I don't need to satisfy myself right now.
Oh, well, you said you were bored. That's an easy way to take care of that sort of thing usually, Tyler.
But
Okay, the ship explodes. We sort of joked about this earlier. Like, it has to, because it's 2002. Like, an explosion must happen. It's mandated by law.
Yeah.
What did y'all think about the explosion? I didn't love it. I kind of feel like you made Julia Margulies fall down for this. Like, this is, like, I do like that she got to have, like, an action hero moment if this was the film Ghost Ship, an action movie, but it wasn't Ghost Ship, an action movie. It was Ghost Ship, a horror movie, and like just let her be scared by things. Let little girl warn them, and then there's an explosion, but it's not an explosion that reaches the top of an ocean liner from a tugboat and knocks down one of the best people who's ever been on NBC television in my lifetime. Like, don't do this to me. It's too much. It's too much.
It is too much. I understand the necessity of getting rid of the Arctic Warrior, so they're stuck on the Grazia. They could have done it some other way.
Yeah. But I do like that there's sort of a haunted house trope in which, like, if things get too close to the house, they can be like contaminated by it. And I like that rule seems to work here. I think that's all thrown out later when we learn who Ferryman is. I think that like what I'm about to put down instantly gets removed by the end of this film. But I like the idea that like presence near the ghost ship can like ruin your ship, and that's why it exploded. Like we see this sometimes with like cars parked in garages of haunted houses. I like that sort of thing. I like that there's a corruption part of this. Unfortunately, that was all me, not the film.
Yeah. As is so often the case with horror movies that we watch that aren't super great, the things that we come up with end up being better than the real thing.
I mean, you're right. That is kind of why I enjoy a movie that's not traditionally great, because I like to like theorize and like find stuff in it. So if you like that kind of thing, this is the perfect movie for you.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's a very fair point.
There's a lot to muse on.
Yes,
there certainly is. I would like to talk about the gold now.
Oh, did we find some gold? Also,
we found
Julia Margulies had to read the line, "I hate rats," and I don't know what take that was, but they used the best one. She did not have fun that day on set. That was not a line delivery that met her skill.
No, the good wife can do so much better.
She really can.
I think, God, just like so that all of these bodies come pouring out of a hold. Which, by the way, Juliana Margulies should know not to just open a strange door on a ghost ship because of this exact situation where, like, the whole ship could end up getting flooded. Like, I love that you, even worse, there's dead bodies.
I love that you clarified that it was a ghost ship. That like she wouldn't do this because she's a salvager and she knows how leaks happen, and she never would open like an airlock like this. And yet you're like, she would know because it's a ghost ship.
I mean it in the non-supernatural,
I see.
more nautical
An
term.
abandoned ship. Got it.
An abandoned ship. Yes. So you understand what I'm saying. But like, so all these dead bodies come pouring out of there, and she's just like, "We gotta go. We gotta call the Coast Guard." Very logical thing to do. Ferriman, I feel like if the writing on this movie had been stronger, they should have had Ferriman be like, "Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here and call the Coast Guard." But instead, as soon as he sees a car, it's like, what dead bodies? As soon as he sees the gold bars, he's just like, oh my god, gold, we can't leave. We can't call the Coast Guard. I know people just died mysteriously and there's some weird shit going on. Also, we're stranded on this boat now because our other ship exploded. But but gold though. And to me, that just felt so like telegraphed. Like Ferriman is obviously the bad guy. If you're not picking it up by now, this should really send it home because he's not acting like a normal, empathetic human person like Juliana Margulies is. He's acting like a 12-year-old that's easily distracted by shiny things. And as we all know, 12-year-olds are the most evil creatures on Earth. So he, therefore, is also evil.
Yes. Oh. Imperfect.
Yeah, no, like there's a scene, we don't really mention it here because it's not really that important, but like right afterwards they're all like sitting down and talking about what they need to be doing, and a Ferriman reacts with like an actual sociopath who's like, we all agreed that to do this, and Santos knew that it was dangerous, it's all fine, we've got this gold, and everybody's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing, my man? And
yeah,
this clearly went through a lot of rewrites. It needed one more, I think.
Although there are people nowadays in halls of power and the head of corporations that I think would just react the same way when there's money on the line. So unfortunately, we just live in a time where boring one-dimensional evil people exist. So I didn't find it that totally unrealistic.
Well, listen.
Even though it was also, like, obviously, like, this is clearly the bad guy, you guys.
Yeah, he's bad.
I can't deal with real-life horrors. Let's go back to the fun go ship.
Sure, please, by all means. Go to the pantry, Marilee.
Yeah. In the kitchen, Munder and Dodge try eating some canned supplies, which seem perfectly preserved. At first, the food is absolutely delicious. But then they look again and they realize they're just eating literal and unadulterated maggots. Epps goes looking for Katie's room and she finds her corpse and her ghost. Katie tries to explain what happened to the Grazza, but he doesn't like Katie talking to Epps and terrifies her into silence. In the captain's cabin, Murphy has a vision of the Grazza's captain, and the two captains share a drink. The ghostly captain shows Murphy a scrapbook, because that's just a thing that keeps happening in Fear Coded Podcast. We get plot-important scrapbooks. With information on the Lorelei, a different cruise ship that had been found adrift. Murphy knew the legend, but not that she had been found by the Grazza, or that gold bars had been found aboard, or that there was a survivor. The captain shows Murphy a picture of them, and he recognizes the survivor and hurries off. But he does not show the photo to the audience because this is still a mystery and they have no idea who the bad guy is.
Exactly.
Greer goes into the ballroom and sees all of the years of neglect undo itself until he's standing in basically the past, with Francesca on the stage. He decides that if she's dead, she doesn't count as cheating and starts to kiss her. She lures him to his death, and he falls down an elevator shaft. R.I.P. baby.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start at the beginning, which is the maggots, which is like it's a trope. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. This version of this telling of this bit didn't work for me.
Yeah. I definitely thought they were reheating Poltergeist nachos a little bit here. But I thought it worked fine enough. I thought it was gross eating maggots when you don't know that they're maggots. It worked for me. I am not a perfect person.
Yeah, I think that the maggots didn't really work for me because again, I thought it was just we're cribbing from more successful horror movies. So you two happened to pick out the two horror movies that I was thinking of, which I think are the best uses or best examples of surprise, you're not eating the thing that you think you're eating. Poltergeist I think, is the king of this because the scene is just so graphic and intense. Lost Boys is just more of like trickery, and I think that's closer to what we got going on here. In which case, it's two pretty men eating rice, and then it ends up being maggots. So just watch the Lost Boys because that's a generally better
Oh my god!
vibe.
One of them's blonde and one of them's a brunette. I didn't even think about that when I put Lost Boys in here. This is so Lost Boys.
It is.
It's so Lost Boys.
I guess the only other difference is that it's from the other direction, because in Lost Boys the rice is rice. But in here in Ghost Ship, the beans are maggots for real, and we're tricked into thinking that it wasn't gross instead of thinking it was.
Different enough to not be sued. That's what we want.
Close enough. Hey, did an AI write this script?
No. I mean, it was written by like 1 million people, so maybe. Let's talk a little bit about Epps and Katie, because I really did like all of this. Mostly that I think you've got two of your best actors together on a set, and they are doing really fun things together. I think, again, we're doing a wonderful job here showing terror. I think Emily Browning seems horrified. I like Juliana Margulies responding to her terror, which then amps up the terror, because Epps can't see whatever it is that we're seeing, which I think just visually doesn't scare me, but Browning does scare me, which I thought was really, really good.
Yeah.
And that I really, really liked.
If I can jump in here and talk about maybe why the reason why we like the queerness in this movie kind of falls apart in this sequence. So I love that earlier in the movie, Epps talks about how Fairman is just like, oh, why aren't you are you with anybody on here? Is there romance? Is it you and Murph or something like that? And she's like, oh, you're probably wondering why I'm with a whole bunch of like rough neck dudes instead of at home with a kid and a husband and stuff. And these guys are my family. I don't want all that. And then what do? Is they put the one woman character in this movie with the one female child character in this movie to create a sort of pseudo mother-daughter mechanic. Yeah. And it's just like, I see we are actually reinforcing gender stereotypes and gender roles and not being as brave as we thought we were. Which, to be fair, is very 2002.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
You just can't get away from it, I think, is the problem. You just can't get away from it.
Katie even says, you remind me of my mom, and Epps is like, no.
Yeah, I did like Epps sort of rejecting it. And truly, if you look at the character beats, it is Katie who ends up doing all of the saving of Epps. And Epps is kind of like, you dead girl, I can't save you. And I do kind of like that. Like, she has no interest in saving Katie. Epps is kind of like in it for herself. And like, that's fine. That's whatever. But it doesn't take away from what Tyler's saying, which is that there's just this gravity well of this sort of conformist heteronormative sense of who you are that a 2002 film cannot escape.
Yeah. But like, we're definitely seeing progress because like, we're going from a time back in the 80s where Ripley and Newt become a de facto mother-daughter, and that works great. Yes. But it also is coming from a movie where Ripley is very devoutly more Epps in this case. And I think also we do have some funny moments between Epps and Katie. Epps picks up the locket, and credit to Katie, her mother in that locket, we only see like a quick little shot of her from far away. Straight up looks like Juliana Margulies. Oh, so jot that one down.
Fine. I like that.
But also when she goes to then put the locket in Katie's hand and it just kind of slides through, Juliana Margulies just goes, "Holy shit, you are!"
I love that though.
And it's like that. I'm sorry. That was the most like if you ever met a ghost in real life reaction.
Yeah, that was great.
I really did. I loved that because it was just so like stark. This would be the woman who then gets cast on snakes on a plane in 4 years. Like, yes, Juliana, give it to me, girl. Okay. Another ship. Can we talk about the captains together now?
Yeah, let's talk about the captain off.
I ship them.
Oh my god. I loved that, Tyler. That was perfect. No notes. Podcast is back on forever.
Yes.
They got a Groupon for like missing ships. They were like, buy 3, get 100 more. Great, I'll take it. I don't like this at all.
No.
There's so many things I don't like. I don't like the captain suddenly speaking English. I don't care for that very much. I don't really like the drinking part of all of it that Murphy is trying to go through. And the thing that I think is the bridge too far, where I really was like, come on, fucking movie, was that in the previous scene, Epps tries to hand the locket back to the little girl, and she's like, I can't hold it because I'm a ghost. And then, like, 5 seconds later, the captain's like, here's a fucking dossier and all this backstory you need that he just throws across the table. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're not even, like, consistent with our narrative. That sucks. I hate this.
Oh, yeah. What ghosts can and cannot do is insane in this movie. Like, there's no consistency.
Yeah.
Bummer. Okay. I don't really have too much to add to the captain sequence because it just is like to me. If we're ready, I do want to talk about Greer in the ballroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have one good thing to say and some other things. So you lead us down the path, Tyler.
So first of all, I love the Disney ass moment of like the whole room changing around Greer. Everything's going in reverse. We're actually using CGI pretty well, even if it hasn't aged great. I think it was a fun example of like, we're in a ghost ship, Mama. Let's go for it. Let's just go for it. And I think that's a great idea.
Agreed.
But kind of going also off of what David was talking about with like what ghosts can and cannot do in this movie, it's wild.
Yeah.
There are no rules.
Yeah.
And I like that we are kind of pulled into it. It does feel very Shining-esque. However, the part that really gets me and ends up really bothering me is when Greer says, well, I love my fiance, but I can't cheat on her with a dead woman. So let me go ahead and cheat on her. And after everything that we've known about his character is that he loves his fiance and he wants to get home to her. And suddenly he's like, actually, she doesn't need to know. Is so out of character and is very like unfortunately emblematic of some stereotypes in Hollywood of black men being cheaters, and it's unfortunate that this movie falls into that trap.
Agreed.
A, you're completely right. B, can I push back on that just a little bit?
Go for it.
Because while I think you're right, it is racist, I do think that it is telegraphed a little bit more than what you're saying, because when they, like, we first bring up the fiancés in, like, the port scene where he's talking about he getting back to his fiance, and like I forget who it is. It's probably either like Dodge or Munder, but one of them says something along the lines of, "Yeah, you can't wait to get back to her, can't you?" In like kind of a jokey kind of way. And then when he first brings up his encounter sort of with Francesca, and talking about how this hot ghost voice was like coming on to me, and everybody else like kind of takes the piss out of him a little bit there also, because I think there is enough there to imply that he's a former womanizer who's like, maybe he's like gonna marry this girl, but isn't like that into the idea of like marriage, maybe. So again, I completely agree with you. I do think that it is set up as just a little bit more than what you're implying.
Can I push back on your pushback in that case?
Oh, please.
So much pushing happening.
We're just pushing each other like preschoolers and bullying.
Oh my God.
I think to make that part of his character, period, is kind of indicative of like a racial concern.
Oh, yeah, I agree with
like,
you.
If that's like his main character trait, is that he loves his fiance, but he's kind of a womanizer, and that's all we really get to know about him, it ends up not being very good character writing.
Yeah, no, I think that you're right. I think it sucks, but I do think that they've established that that's who he is, and that's bad.
But I think you can fix this 100 ways. I listen. I will script doctor this 23-year-old film.
Let's go.
I love it. This is my favorite thing
sequence.
to do. Go for it.
Make Epps wife guy. I like Epps being a wife guy. I think that's actually kind of fun. I think
Greer?
Greer, yeah, sorry. You make I like Epps being a
You
wife
are
girl
so
too.
bad at remembering which one is Epps, my man.
Girl, it's so hard to keep track of all the names in this movie.
Listen, I like Epps being a lesbian and being a wife girl. Go for it. But I like Greer being a wife guy. I think it's really fun. I think it's a fine thing for a character to be. Just show us a picture earlier of the wife, fiance, whatever, and she's identical to Francesca. And then he sees the painting and goes, "Oh my God, this woman could be a duplicate of my wife, my super hot wife, the only thing I'm invested in. And then later, that temptation then makes a little bit more sense and delivers on the character promise. And yes, he's going to be led to his death. It's a fucking horror movie. I'm not against, I mean, I would have loved Isaiah Washington to be on screen a little bit more because he is also a great actor.
Yeah.
But this all didn't ring true for me. It felt like a kill for a kill's sake. It felt very Johnny Galecki from I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's like, we haven't had a kill in a while. Put a kill in here.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. I did like him falling from his death in an elevator shaft. I think that's a fun way to have a character die.
It was also foreshadowed earlier in the movie.
Yeah,
Hell and back.
Yeah, Chekhov's elevator shaft. Great, do it, get it, print it, perfect. That all didn't bother me. And then the woman of the hour, Francesca.
Yeah.
Step on me, mommy. I would have to say in Italian because she doesn't speak English. They had to fly out a translator after casting her. Nobody thought like, oh, we might need to be able to give her directions at some point in time. So in the middle of filming, they had to stop because they couldn't give her like stand here directions. No one spoke Italian.
Oh my god.
And she made it very clear that like she was not willing to take any direction in English. And I say, queen behavior.
That is queen behavior. I love her. I support women's wrongs. I think Francesca is fantastic. You go, girl. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, and she is lip syncing for her life. But that is her voice. Yeah. But she is lip syncing for her life.
But it is her voice, so that's just the magic of movie making, baby.
Are you sure on Wikipedia there was somebody else credited as her singing voice?
That is what it said on the special featurette that I watched, was that she was chosen as a performer and they had her perform. If they chose not to use it for the film, that might make sense for this film, but that does seem pretty criminal that they hired a performer and then had her perform and recorded the performing, and she sings that, or she synced something when she was lip syncing.
Yeah, so on the Wikipedia page, it has Francesca I'm so bad at Italian, and I apologize to not only the country of Italy, but also my Italian like heritage here. I'm so sorry. But Francesca Rendottini, and they also have Monica Mancini as the singing voice of Francesca. So,
without any more information than I've already provided, I can't refute Wikipedia live on the podcast.
Yeah, this is all that I've got for you. This is all that we have. What's the truth, Ghost Ship producers and Stephen Beck?
Well, in that case, I think we've dwelt far enough into Francesca's career and instead must move on back to the present with Murphy trying to find Epps so that they can get off the ship, but Santos' ghost taunts him. Epps finds Murphy, but Santos' ghost messes with Murphy's mind and makes him see Epps as Santos. Murphy attacks, and Epps fights him off until Ferriman arrives and knocks Murphy out. The crew all think that Murphy was drunk and put him in a giant aquarium to keep him and them safe despite Epps' protests. What could go wrong, my friends? What could go wrong?
What indeed could go wrong?
The next morning, the crew continue to try to fix the ship. Again, I found it satisfying, much for the same reason David liked the beginning, because it was people who are good at their job being good at their jobs. However, the current is faster than anticipated, and they are running out of time. Epps tries to find Greer and discovers his dead body. Katie appears and tells Epps that she wants to show her something, and does something, so they're both viewing the past. In the kitchen, the cooks lace dinner with rat poison over their dead colleagues on the floor. We revisit the carnage on the dance floor. Survivors are gunned down in the pool. Katie is dragged to her own death. Then the perpetrators begin to turn on each other. Francesca double-crosses someone, and she herself is double-crossed with a man who killed her burning some sort of sigil on her hand. The last man standing is revealed to be Ferriman.
Dun,
oh my
dun,
goodness.
dun. What a surprise.
Who could have ever seen this coming? Epps realizes that Murphy is in danger and hurries toward him, but it's too late. He has drowned in the aquarium. A photo of Ferriman, the only survivor of the Lorelei, floats next to him.
Okay, there's a lot going on here. Is there anything we need to talk about vis-a-vis like Murphy's vision and his sort of thing outside of like Gabriel Byrne is giving it. Like he's given it. I think he's doing a really good job in the sequence.
Gabriel Byrne works for every paycheck he is paid for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Cash that money.
Cash on money. I also think that the makeup effect on Santos, like having his face half exploded, was pretty good.
Yep. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
good.
that was pretty solid. I would say that was like pretty like want to talk about Star Trek, like that felt like Star Trek quality makeup job.
Good makeup.
So good for them.
There.
I don't really have anything else to add about that, but I do want to talk about the vision.
We gotta talk about the vision.
Let's get into the vision. I think the vision had some tonal problems, the way that the movie had tonal problems. And yet, I thought this whole sequence was fantastic. I loved the music underneath it. I loved the editing on this. I thought this was a really good sequence.
Yeah. I loved it so much. It's absolute nonsense, and yet another example of, hey, what can ghosts do here? But I was seated the entire time. I'm happy to like booked and another vacation trip with specifically the vision. That was great.
I would like all visions that I have of the past to be scored to Italian dance music from the late 90s, early 2000s. Because that's what we had going on here. Tone? What's that? I don't know. Honestly, though, this was my other favorite part of the movie besides the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I like the music, the spinning of characters and the camera, the sped up movement of characters before we slow down to real time to focus on something that they're doing. And honestly, we're just cribbing from the Bourne movies and other action movies from the early 2000s at this point. Like, the music is so decadent and doesn't fit at all with what's happening.
Agreed.
It truly feels like it's coming from the heist movie that this was intended to be. And it doesn't make any sense with the rest of the movie, with how it's played out. It should have been closer to Greer's death scene. But you know what? I think the rest of the movie is kind of lame. So I ended up really liking this.
Yeah. I loved. I mean, I thought, again, we get more Francesca. So, like, who am I? I'm a simple man. Like
Francesca with a gun shooting another guy.
Francesca with a gun.
Incredible.
Oh, that's my sexuality.
Me too.
Truly and honestly, that and I'll say that's the problem. Or not problem. It's a little campy, like the first sequence was campy. That she shoots a man through a head, and we shoot her shooting the man. We camera shot the shot of her shooting a man with a bullet through the head. It is so wonderful because she is gorgeous, and you don't think about a gorgeous thing through the bullet wound of a man's head. That is really good.
It was great. I also
really
think
good.
Browning does some incredible work in this sequence. Like, you
Agreed.
see a live Katie, like, and like the reaction that Ghost Katie has to seeing a live Katie, and like all of those things happening,
Yes.
specifically when like the two stewards like grab her and drag her to where they're gonna fucking kill her. Incredible work. It was all good. It was so good. The whole sequence, incredible. Print.
Well, and one of my favorite versions of that, Marilee, was that when the wire cuts everyone and the memory of living Katie screams, Ghost Katie kind of like rolls her eyes or flinches or like is like, oh God, stop screaming. And what a choice, and what a great choice to make in that moment. Just a ghost would get tired of that kind of shit. And yet you've got to give this memory to Epps. And I gotta say also, while I'm giving out praise, the restraint to not have Epps be like, what is this, some sort of memory? Was the restraint that was displayed deserves a round of applause, because a lesser movie, which this already kind of was, would have been like, oh, can they not see me? Am I a ghost to them? Like, which is just a hack thing that we have seen 100 times when we've gone into a memory, but you don't need it because of the sick dance beat that we've got going on.
Yeah, no. What a great call out, David. I just that could have happened. There's definitely a version of the script with those exact words in it, I guarantee.
Yeah, and I could see Juliana Margulies going back to her trailer and like throwing up in the toilet because she had to do that line read. Oh, anything else about the vision though? The reveal of Ferryman, maybe we want to talk about? No, you don't want to talk about the reveal of Ferryman.
No.
Anything that's related to Ferryman, I just find so boring.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have a lot to say about Ferryman in the next section,
Okay.
so I'm fine with just breezing on past this, because we basically see nothing of him here anyway. It's just like kind of revealed right before he kills, actually no, excuse me, right after he kills Francesca in a brutal way, by the way.
Well, I liked her kill, and she deserved it because she's evil, like mommy. Yeah. Here's the thing that I had the problem with, and again, Desmond Harrington will go on to do wonderful things. I know he's got the chops, maybe just not there yet. But like, to the charisma void of all of it, how is someone kissing this gorgeous woman then boring me? Like, I should want to be this man in this moment, and yet when the reveal is him, which you also knew was coming, like, it's kind of like, oh God, why would you stoop to this level, Francesca? You take over the ghost ship. You go be the queen of hell. Like, fuck this guy.
She would have had so many more.
She was like the main bad guy, frankly. That would have been a lot better.
Honestly, she should have been.
She should have been.
That would have been cool as heck.
She can be my main bad guy, if you know what I'm saying. Ayo. Epps finds Dodge and tries to explain what is going on, but Ferryman joins them. Epps orders the two of them stay put and wait for her to come back, laying particular emphasis to Dodge not to leave each other's sight before going to get Munder so they can all get safe. Munder is diving in the flooded engine compartment, trying to figure out what clogged the drain when suddenly it starts working again and he is crushed by the mechanics. It is unceremonious, unfortunately, and I think that is a bummer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Grazza passes through Rocky Islands and is now free from immediate danger. Ferryman turns on Dodge, taunting him about his feelings for Epps before moving to attack him. Dodge shoots Ferryman, but it doesn't kill him like it should. In the engine room, Dodge finds Epps rigging the ship full of explosives, planning to sink it and take their chances for rescue. Dodge tries to convince her not to, or at least to plan on bringing the gold, but she arms the explosives and backs away from him and reveals she knows it's not really Dodge she's talking to.
Dun 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 dun.
Okay. So Ferryman's heel turn here doesn't work.
No.
We knew that he was evil. He sort of had like, I'm the main villain. He was walking around with like buttons and handing them out. And the film is trying to use this moment to be like, no, but see, he's evil because he'll make fun of somebody's love life. It's not there.
No, so it really isn't. Like, in my opinion, Ferryman's flat affect is one of the worst parts of this whole fucking movie. This is the thing that really drags it down to me. Cause like, you're the bad guy. You're a demon asterisk, perhaps, maybe. He's called a demon in extra-textual stuff. He never calls himself that, but like, sure, whatever, you're a demon. You're trapping hundreds of souls with the intent of dragging them down to hell. Why are you bored? Why is this boring? Can we not have some fucking fun? My God.
Yeah. And we've also got some third act plot wrinkles that I just don't... it actually started with the flashback when he brands Francesca. Like you have to be a sinner to go to hell, which is they're making them all be sinners somehow. And, oh, you don't want to shoot me because if you shoot me, you'll kill me. And people who kill people go to hell. And I don't need any more movie. I have enough movie. We're here at the third act. Please don't put more movie into this movie. Like, I am done.
It's that thing where I feel like the executives are manipulating everything in this sequence because they're like, okay, now you have to make him really evil. Make sure you know he's really evil. Also, he's got a group of people who take over a ship and kill everyone on it. That's like terrorism. So also trying to kind of like channel him being like super, super evil because he's also kind of like a ghost terrorist.
A ghost terrorist in theaters this fall.
They would.
Halloween. So yeah, it doesn't work at all for me. I think this whole sequence after that with the whole Epps is rigging the ship full of explosives, it feels like it comes from Chimera, because this would be a great climax to a spooky heist movie. It doesn't work as a haunted house movie climax.
I can see that.
And where are we in Karl Urban's career? Because this is a very unceremonious end to Karl Urban.
In 2 months, if that, he will be premiering as Éomer, captain of the Riddermark, for the Kingdom of Rohan in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
Yeah,
which I think is which I think is his big break. Not this movie.
I mean,
No.
he already had his arc on Xena. Like, you think his big break is Lord of the Rings? He was on Xena. Hello, Tyler.
Come on, Tyler. Yeah, but he's still a little baby here, and I do think that, like, his death is kind of cool, the way that he, like, fucking crunches, and then, like, you see the blood in the tube, and then, like, the camera pans down, and we, like, see half his face on the floor. That's all kind of good. I wish that there was more, though.
More, give me more.
You deserve more.
I watched all those people get chopped in half. I deserve to have one of the characters I actually like seeing on screen get a little bit more death time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, speaking of Munder, I have to say, personally, the Dodge likes Epps reveal, I think, just comes a little too late in the movie for me. Like, this is a wild, like, at no point had this kind of been hinted ever at all. And frankly, just make Munder and Dodge a couple, like those two guys who are always together, other than this third act heterosexuality of it all.
Well, and this feels like one of those things that's like for the audience, not for the characters, because Margulies and Eldred are married. Like, that's how he got this job, was that he's married to the star of this movie.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, this feels extra textual. This felt like an extra textual little nod to an audience who had watched them meet on ER and be like a very powerful couple in Hollywood, and then be in this film together.
Yeah, no, that I didn't know that.
Well, that's why it doesn't work, because that worked in 2002. It does not work forever.
No, it's too little too late. And I did like when Ferriman is trying to pretend to be Dodge, and he's talking about how, like, we could, like, run away together and, like, have our own ship and have a life, just you and me. And Epps is standing there confused, like, what the fuck are you talking about? I did like that.
Yeah.
I do like that no matter what, like, Epps definitely feels like the most progressive of all of the tough ladies from the 2002, just because she keeps on being like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that typical bullshit.
I did like that.
So I do like that.
Yeah. Are we ready to move on to the climax? Is there anything else we want to discuss before then?
We gotta finish this.
Bring us high, Marilyn. Bring us high.
All right. So Dodge becomes Ferriman. Ooh, a reveal that we definitely didn't talk about already.
Decent 2000 CGI on the face transfer. I say, take your bow. Face transfer VFX artists.
Okay. And that reveals that he's a demon, sort of, who has collected everyone who has died on board Souls and plans to bring them all down to hell together. He can even control the ones who have sinned with the mark that he brands on them. Ooh, dark.
Oh, God.
He offers Epps a deal. She can go free with her life if she doesn't blow up the boat. Isn't that so generous? That's not good enough for her. She wants her crew to go free and prepares to hit the switch. They fight, Ferriman knocking Epps into the water and almost killing her before she gains the upper hand and shoots the switch with a harpoon gun in a legit cool sequence. The Antonio Grazza explodes, and Katie guides Epps out through the sinking ship. All the souls are freed, and they all swim up together until the lost souls become an aurora and floating away. The next morning, Epps is discovered floating on a trunk. On land, it seems like everything is over, and she's loaded up into an ambulance when she sees a porter crew loading some familiar boxes onto the ship that rescued her, followed by Ferriman. Dun dun dun! The movie ends with Epps screaming, trying to get them to stop, and then bam bam bam, new metal.
I just feel like, are we setting up Ghost Ship 2 Cruise Control? Like, what is the story here at this ending?
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, well, listen,
David.
Greed never changes.
Yeah, again, we've sort of lost the plot here, because the crew loading the boxes on are the crew of the Arctic Warrior, so it feels like we're trying to tell...
Wait, are they? I did not catch that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, okay.
But then what does that mean? Like, what are you trying to have me think about here? Because that's a pretty stark thing to do at the end of your film.
Yeah.
But like, to what end? To what end? I have no answers to these questions. I mean, Margulies is getting it. Here's what I'll say. Her screaming, it's a good scream. It's a
Mhm.
good end of a horror movie. It just is too bogged down in its own lore for me to like really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so puzzled because didn't all the souls go free?
Yeah,
Except
I
for the
thought
ones that sinned? But and what part who on her crew sinned? Like it's just so puzzling.
yeah. I straight up did not catch that was the Arctic Warrior crew. So thank you, David, for that one. Um so again, like I bought the DVD. Um on the front of this DVD cover, it proudly proclaims that this was also produced by the same people who made the 90s Hill House adaptation. And boy, you can tell that this was the same group of people based on the way that this film ended with the Grazza crew. And by crew, I mean with like all of the ghosts on the Grazza floating up into the sky. It's the exact same fucking effect.
The floating is okay. Well, then I'm looking forward to watching that film because the floating is almost from the campy movie that we keep like putting our foot in. Like it's almost goofy fun. It's really like I've released all the souls. They're free. They can go. And I'm okay with that because it is sort of silly and stupid. But then I have to deal with all this like I can mark people who sinned and I can control them and that doesn't work for me as much and that's kind of a bummer.
No, it's a pretty
Yeah.
silly ending.
Yeah, and like I can't get over the fact that like the Arctic Warrior crew is the one like are the porters because like definitely a lot of the people on the Grazza did some sins because they killed all of the passengers. Did they also get to go free or like are they still controlled somehow? Questions. None of my
Who's to
business.
say?
And does this cruise ship become the new ghost ship because the cursed gold is laden aboard?
That is apparently what does it? Question mark. Yeah, I don't. This it just doesn't work. It doesn't work in so
It
many
doesn't.
ways.
No.
Just put the gold in an Uber and have people ride your Uber until you collect your souls. Like modernize, dude.
Ghost Uber
Ghost Uber.
coming to
this
theaters
fall.
this fall.
Stop. Okay.
No, this is our joke now. We can't stop it.
Listen, I'm here for it. Go ghosts, go. Unfortunately, you have to deal with this demon guy, and that's the problem. And again, Margulies is giving it, but Harrington with this like I guess supposed to be smoldering look back at her is not giving it. She's giving so much, and he is just this void that is taking it all in and turning it into nothing.
You know what's crazy, David, is that until you mentioned it at the start of the episode, I forgot that he was in Dexter. And I've been spending this whole episode partially thinking about, like, what was he like on Dexter? Because I feel like I remember seeing him on there. And I gotta say, maybe this movie is coloring my perception of him. I don't remember liking him on Dexter either.
Oh, really? He was like the.
I also remember thinking, like, he is like a charisma void and an asshole.
Well, he is
Oh
an
my
asshole in
God.
Dexter, but he is meant to be an asshole in Dexter.
Yeah, he's meant to be an asshole, but it was just like he's not even his face never changes. It's just that weird like pinched lip thing that he's
Yeah.
doing.
He's like coasting on being hot, it seems like. Is like, yeah, I'm so hot you can just look at me, and like that's all the acting that he's giving, especially in this
To be
movie.
fair, I do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
We all
listen,
do.
Tyler, you can also act. You have many other skills. You're not just super
Thank
hot.
you. Well, one of my skills is asking how do we feel about the final thoughts for this episode? How do we all feel about Ghost Ship in terms of horror or queerness after our conversation?
This has not happened, I think, in the history of the podcast, but the discussion that we had about this has lowered my feelings on this movie. Usually, when we talk about something, I either find ways to like it, or it was so abysmal that none of us were going to do anything to change our impressions of it. And this time, I think I came in being like, "This is fine." But I would watch it again, but I wouldn't like reach for it again. And now I'm sort of left with like, I could never see this again. I would be fine. I still don't think it deserves the ranking that it receives among people. And I do think there is a better film to be created out of the entrails of this one. I think there is a Frankenstein's monster of a film that is way better than the thing that we got. And one day someone will assemble that and we'll have a revisitation of Ghost Ship. And if merrily, you said Dead Ship was from the 50s, then we'll just wait another 50 years to get a better version of it.
Here's the thing. I genuinely and from the bottom of my heart want that. I need that. I need Ghost Ship to become culturally relevant somehow because I absolutely have to. And I mean this with my whole ass chest. I have to go on a haunted house attraction based on Ghost Ship. Because, like, are you kidding me? The Antonio Grazia would be an incredible haunt. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It would be so good. Like, they have, like, all of this dumb lore that they have built in already. Like, this, the sunk, like, the abandoned cruise ship would be so much fun. I just picture this movie, except it's a place you're walking through with haunt actors about to scare the shit out of you. It's perfect.
Yeah, I would not do that. I wouldn't. I'm getting on a cruise ship and I don't want to experience that.
Can I just tell you, I would love exactly what you just described, Marilee, but make it like a modern day like Carnival cruise ship. So you could just be like, this is the ghostly buffet. Oh, this is the wave pool of terror. And then you just see like ghostly tourists like standing up on the wave rider machine and then falling down again over and over.
Yeah, I on the record is saying I'm anti cruise ship. I would go on a themed cruise ship, specifically that it was like a haunted thing and like that, like there are haunt actors about to scare you. Like imagine a cruise ship but like it's a haunt. That would be so much fun.
I would definitely do that for like a booze cruise.
Yeah. Okay.
I would do that.
The
Like if there were a
Caribbean?
booze, like a Halloween booze cruise where it's like we go out to the water for a couple hours, have some drinks, play some games, watch a little show, maybe a drag performance, and then we come back. Perfect day.
You're into it. You're into it.
That does
Ma'am.
sound really fun. I would like that.
I am scared enough on the cruises that I take of white people, so I don't need any additional fear added to my experience.
It's okay. Glitterjaw is about to pivot into cruises, so
Just we're going to take the entire collective, and instead of doing queer podcasts that we do deep dives into media like Godzilla, we're just going to completely pivot to doing themed cruises around the Caribbean.
still gay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Still
gay.
queer. Still queer.
Okay, still queer. But just on the sea.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Indeed.
I'm interested to see how that goes, Tyler.
That's really the only substantial thought I have about this movie. At this point, I think I pretty much exhausted my feelings about Ghost Ship. I think it is a movie that is not good. I don't think you're missing anything by not seeing it. However, if you want to take a movie that you can then use for like a spooky D&D campaign,
Yeah.
I think this Haunted Ghost Ship really fun because
True.
themes of like greed and being taken in by someone who's not all they seem doesn't work so well in a movie. Works really well in a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
So think about that.
And you people have packs all over the place. There's people making packs with demons all the time. Like that.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Do a D&D campaign of this, tabletop this. Maybe you can have a better experience than Tyler had as a film. But Tyler, were you sometimes we watch bad things and you end being like exhausted by them. Were you exhausted by this, or were you just sort of like, it's done and I'm fine?
It's done and I'm fine.
Okay.
It got to about the 45-minute point where I was just like, how much time is left in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
So then when the movie finally ended, I was like, okay, that's done. I'm gonna go make some snacks and play Diablo.
Yeah. You didn't let the new metal play you out while you like went to the kitchen and just enjoy some like harsh tones.
I let it play for like a good 30 seconds because I was like, did I used to listen to this in middle school? Nah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. I'm gonna still say it. I'm a defender for Ghost Ship. I genuinely think it's not that bad, and I think that there's a lot of fun that you can have here. A lot of that is me making my own fun, definitely, but I do that anyway. So I had a great time.
Yeah.
Well, hey, one of the wonders of a podcast hosted by 3 people is that we can have 3 different opinions, and now it's up to you, the audience, to decide which of us is correct. And there is only one objective answer. Only one of us can win. So you have to go into the comments on this post and talk about it.
Yeah. Please comment on Spotify who won the episode.
Yeah, or you could do it on Blue Sky or Instagram because we're also there. And you know what? Listen, we wanted to thank you all so much for listening to this episode. While you're, commenting, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to show us a whole ship that we can salvage together for only a 20% finder's fee, we simply aren't interested in that. We're not going to do that.
Nope.
But again, you can find us to comment and tell us who won the episode on Fear Coded Pod at Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm genuinely serious. Tell us who won.
Yeah, this is great. I hope this is
both a normal thing to want to have happen and a thing that's possible to decide.
I think this is. I hope the podcast continues to do that. I hope we continue to encourage listeners to tell us who won, and that we have no negative mental health repercussions from that ask that we are making.
Yeah, if we go 2 episodes where I'm not the winner, I'm going to curl myself.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know who always wins? That is the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective, which Fear Coded is a proud member of. If you would like to check out other queer media podcasts, you can check out the full roster of Glitterjaw shows at glitterjaw.com. And join us next time as we set foot again on a ship completely adrift, as we complete logic puzzles and receive dopamine-induced sound effects as Lost at Sea-tember continues with Return of the Obra Dinn. But for now, we will simply say goodbye.
Bye.
Ciò che abbiamo già vissuto senza fine.
No, I didn't. I was just going to basically say the same thing you guys did. We can move on.
No, say it. I want to hear you say it. Tyler, say it.
Say it. Say it, Tyler. Say it.
Okay, we'll take out that part where I just said I'm not going to talk about it, and we'll just pretend that I was always going to talk about it.
Leave it all this in.
Fuck.
Le stelle